when you began working for the American Wrestling Association as a referee and had an opportunity, I understand, to be a front promoter for a network of cities under the AWA banner, but then there was some involvement of Al Tomko with Verne Gagne, and the deal sort of soured, from my understanding. Could you explain that situation for the fans?
Yeah, sure can. Al Tomko, which he's passed away now, he was a front man for Verne. I worked for Verne, and like I said, and later on I hired him for my own shows. What happened was I had a town called Dauphin, Manitoba. Those days, I was drawing on an average 1,800 people per event. I only was there only 5 times. So this Al Tomko went to Verne and told them, hey, this Condello guy is getting too powerful. Let's stop him. And they did. They promoted an event in Dauphin, Manitoba. I went to see it with all the big stars that they had, from Andre the Giant to God knows what. And he had television that time. It was easy for him to promote. I was promoted just with radio, newspaper, and posters. But when I went and watched the event, I paid my fees, $10 to get in. He had 6,000 people there, sold out. Well, what he did was, he wasn't going to try to go back to Dauphin, Manitoba. He went there to kill the town for me, which he did. How you kill a town is very simple. Get all those big superstars. They go inside the ring. They don't wrestle. They just monk around. And of course, what are you going to get from the crowd? Boo, bullshit, and so forth. So therefore, he killed that town for me. And I made a promise. One of these days, you multimillionaire, so I'm going to get you. And I did later on. I'm going to tell you a story about that. So I went back to Dauphin, Manitoba to see if the town's really dead. From an average 1,800 people to 2,000 people, I had the mighty midgets. I had the ladies. I had a powerful card. And from 1,800, all of a sudden, I do 300. Now I know the town is dead. But anyway, that was the end of Verne Gagne. Became my enemy. But beside the point, he was afraid that I was going to run against him in Winnipeg at the Winnipeg Arena. That was not my intention at all. Because by trade, I was a hairstylist. I had 6 salons in the city. I did wrestling on the side until until later on in life, I sold my salons and became a full-time promoter. But anyway, in 1980, I believe, I got a call from Verne Gagne. From Vince McMahon. And what he wanted me to get was the permits for the Winnipeg Arena for him to run. Now, he knew that I had a beef with Verne Gagne, and he had a monopoly on the Winnipeg Arena, which he could not monopolize a city property. So he knew very well that I could break that lease that he had. Because all my clients, I had the mayor of that city that time, and all the councilors, they were on my side. Anyway, what happened before I did all this, before I broke his contract, that anybody can go and promote wrestling in Winnipeg Arena, because it's government property, city property, right? You cannot do that. If it was private, you could, but once it's a city, you cannot monopolize premises. But anyway, before I did all this, I called his office over 10 times. I don't want to interfere, but I made a promise to myself that I'm going to get him, and I did. But he never answered my call. The last person to answer my call was Nick Bockwinkel. The poor guy is gone too now. And he told Verne if he doesn't call me by tomorrow morning, which is Wednesday, his contract will be broken. He never called me because he couldn't believe I could do it. Anyway, in 24 hours, the contract was broken. Then he flew to Winnipeg to patch things up, but it's too late. And from there on, anybody can promote professional wrestling in the Winnipeg Arena. But because of that, he lost his television rights, which Blackjack Lanza had a contract with them, not him. And all the boys already made a switch to Vince McMahon, WWF at that time. And then, all of a sudden, he went broke. Simple as that. It's my understanding. Later on in life, I got a call from Greg Gagne, which was his son. And I told him, let's forget what happened, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, it's forgotten. But I don't forget when somebody betrays me, right? Beside the point, I hire his crew. I bought 2 shows from them with all their crew. They sent me their tapes. which I had to edit the tapes in Winnipeg here with Mr. Joe Yellow, which is the radio announcer. He was my announcer at that time, to get Canadian contents, which I did. I run about a year, and I bought the shows for $35,000. Yeah, I'm sorry, $35,000. $15,000 for 2 shows, which was very cheap. So I run a Brandon, Manitoba, in Winnipeg Arena. So at that time, I had Manny Fernandez against Wahoo McDaniel, a cage match. Special guest referee, Verne Gagne. Cage match. So anyway, I went to them when we were in the dressing room and said, gentlemen, I'm not going to tell you how to run this event because you did this type of event 1,000 times. But I would like at least 12, 15 minutes into the match. Please the crowd, right? So what Verne does, what's his name? Manny Fernandez, they want to break the hold or whatever. So Verne nails them, gives them a shot, disqualifies them, and raises Wahoo McDaniel his hand. But the match only went 3 minutes. And I said to myself, oh, you're trying to screw me again, which he did. So I got him inside the dressing room. I went to Wahoo McDaniel and Manny Fernandez said, thank you, gentlemen, for the event. Verne, can I talk to you? No problem. I took him in the corner and said, Mr. Gagne, I said, look, this is the way it is. He used to be the king of the kings in wrestling, especially Winnipeg. You were the king. Because he used to run the events here every 3 weeks, every month. But he had an exclusive rights, which the Winnipeg Arena gave him. And 3 days before and 3 days after, nobody could promote professional wrestling in Winnipeg Arena. So he had monopoly for 25, 30 years. The gross amount in Winnipeg was an average of $1 million every time. But anyway, I said, sir, I only paid you $7,500 for Brandon tonight, sir, because you didn't do the job properly. I'm not going to pay you. Simple as that. But don't think now for 1 second that you're going to get your Wolverines, all the boys, kick the hell out of me. But if I was you, I'd be smart, which I don't think you are. You're a good promoter and all that. You're a good promoter and a good wrestler. I'm going to take that away from him, by all means. I said, there's 3 guys there, which they are my security. You touch me in any way, in any matter, they're going to destroy every one of you guys. You are fired, sir. And to me, to fire Verne at that time and point was worth $1 million to me. You see what happened? And that's exactly what happened to Mr. Verne Gagne. Then he lost everything because now you're arguing the point with me. You're arguing the point to yourself and all the competition you're going to have. So that was the end of him.
Well, that's unfortunate because those shows, in addition to Wahoo McDaniel and Manny Fernandez, had Don Morocco on them and Paul Diamond, and seemed to be could have been a lifeline for Verne at that time. But do you really believe that was his intention, just to one more time double cross you?
He double crossed me once. That was enough.